Hello everyone, welcome back to a not very epic or awesome sauce docs video. This is only really my second video and it's already drama related. I'm assuming most people don't know of the beef going on in the PvZ community right now, but that is what I'll be explaining, giving my commentary on, and explaining why I think competitive Garden Warfare 2 will ruin the game. Piig is a Garden Warfare 2 YouTuber that focuses on high-kill games and, compared to other competitive Garden Warfare 2 YouTubers, has a lot to say about how good or bad certain characters or abilities and strategies are. He posts very often and started playing Garden Warfare 2 in 2021, which is shockingly early, and is something you should keep in mind. Sometime at the start of July or this year, he uploaded a video titled, How Wolfie Plays Destroyed the Garden Warfare 2 Community. He changed the title 2 weeks later when people started talking about the video. In this video, he would try to explain why Wolfie Plays had caused the community to basically only go by his opinions with the extremely popular tier list videos and series where he played the worst and best character of a class for the whole video. These videos are, by the way, 4 years old. While he does have a point in people, mostly children from what I've seen, only basing their opinions on Wolfie's the way this video discusses it and the way he tries to say that Wolfie, quote-unquote, lied to everyone, is just stupid. He basically says that Wolfie is factually incorrect for thinking a character is good or bad by pulling up the GW2 stats website, which makes zero sense because these tier lists and his best of the worst and worst of the best series are just and only opinions, and Piig says that on his tier list he quote-unquote has no bias and only goes off facts. I think tier lists that are supposed to show which characters are definitely good or bad is stupid, but that doesn't really matter because he's acting like everyone who makes an opinion must go off facts and data. That's like if I said broccoli is my favorite vegetable and he told me that carrot is actually statistically the best one. I don't care, I love broccoli, Wolfie can like broccoli. The problem Piig has isn't even with Wolfie himself, it's with how other people has bias towards characters because of Wolfie's opinions, and yet, he still deliberately made the video out like Wolfie was some trash player, which wouldn't even matter, or was forcing opinions on people and spreading misinformation, which is close to what he said word for word. In the beginning of the video he said, quote, in these videos, he doesn't have the correct upgrade sets, and doesn't know the right tricks and tech, so he is blabbering out a whole bunch of bullshit, end quote. He especially exaggerated and aggressively said the last part. Not only does this go against him saying this video wasn't to hate on Wolfie, since this is literally just hate, it's also just getting angry for no reason. He doesn't need the quote-unquote correct upgrades or know the tech of a character to have an opinion on them. Going back to the broccoli analogy, that's like if I had raw broccoli, and just casually mentioned that I didn't like it, and Piig got angry at my opinion and said that I couldn't say I didn't like broccoli because I hadn't prepared it right. And Piig knows that the title and the things he said in the video were too far, and admitted it was for clicks, which is a horrible thing to strive for, while making a video like this, but he still says deliberately that he said absolutely nothing bad about Wolfie. 2 weeks after this video was uploaded, people started to take notice, one of those people being GonVS, whose name I think stands for Gold Ninja Vlogspot. He's a PvZ YouTuber that mostly makes content on the tower defense games. GonVS made a video titled, Destroying a Absent-Minded Take on Wolfie Plays, with this as the thumbnail. This video would really kick off the controversy, as it showed Piig's video to a larger audience, and in this video he would make a lot of really unnecessary claims and comments like calling him a no-life. GonVS, although I agree with you, this is childish and is a really bad look for the people who disagree with Piig. Piig made a response to this video around a day or so later, and this video is what my whole video is really about. I would suggest at this point in the video that, if you haven't already watched Piig's Wolfie video and his response to GonVS, that you watch them to get the context and actually hear what he says, then come back to this video. In this response, Piig basically disregarded almost all of what people had problems with in the Wolfie video, and just blandly said that he wasn't saying people couldn't have opinions and that he meant no hate to Wolfie. He said his intentions for the video were to say that Wolfie's opinions aren't the only valid opinion, which doesn't really mean anything. I could literally do or say whatever and say my intentions were anything. I also have to mention a part of the video where he shows this image, and plays an explode-o-nut sound effect. This actually got me to laugh. Basically, the only good points in that video was him talking about how G on vs was basically just insulting him, even though T-Pig also basically insulted Wolfie multiple times, regardless of intent. There's this part of the video later on that kind of just proves that any criticism T-Pig might have got went through one ear and out the other. G on vs, in his video, said that T-Pig's rankings were weird, because G on vs thinks Shrimp Imp is not as good as what T-Pig says. T-Pig says something to the effect of, everyone knows Shrimp is the best imp, it's a fact. The fact that T-Pig spends almost 30 seconds of this video debating which characters are good or not is goofy, and him doubling down on thinking characters are factually better than others, and thinking that G on vs thinking Shrimp wasn't as good was just incorrect is extremely hypocritical of what he tries to claim in this video. I also just wanted to mention that his video is just him talking completely unscripted, or at least it seems like, and when I say completely unscripted, I mean it feels like he didn't even think about what he wanted to say before he started recording. Then, around 6 minutes into the video, he says exactly, quote, he assumes the worst because of a screenshot someone took that I'm a toxic player, which is just not true. Being good at a game does not make you toxic. End quote. Saying that you are factually not a toxic player is just a dumb claim to make whether you are or not, and while the last part is mostly true, and I get what he's saying, there are a lot of contexts under the vague term of being good at a game where it can be toxic. In this situation, it's at least kind of reasonable to say that you're making the game toxic, which I'll touch on more in a second. Then a bit after he says this, he makes a point that what G on vs said was essentially harassment, which is fair enough, but then adds that he never attacked anyone and never said anything bad about Wolfie plays. As I mentioned and discussed before, this is him doubling down on what is basically just a lie. You admitted that the title and what you said was wrong and too far, but you, as I said before, still say you did and said nothing wrong. While the things G on vs said was unnecessary, it wasn't unprecedented. Also, sometime after the G on vs video, he was streaming GW2 presumably, and T-Pig decided that he needed to go on the Europe servers and stream snipe him while teabagging him. This is just insanely goofy and the type of stuff 13-year-olds do when they're angry. I don't know why you thought this was a good idea. In his response video he mentioned it and said it quote-unquote doesn't make him a horrible person, which is also just really strange. You're not a horrible person at all, from what I've seen, and if anyone actually thinks that then that's completely their fault, but I don't think anyone does. It seems like he's deflecting a mistake he knows he did by saying it doesn't matter because he isn't a criminal or whatever. At the end of the video is where he really talks about and acknowledges people not liking competitive GW2. His defense is that GW2 is just a game he and his friends enjoy and that they want to get good at, and to allow them to play the game the way they want to since it's quote-unquote not ruining the game. He also says something along the lines of, if you don't like the way we play the game, then leave the lobby, and you won't get farmed. That's how we play the game. We farm a lobby for kills and upload it to YouTube. This is a dumb point to make because there are usually only one lobby for a GUM mode, so if they're in lobby you basically just can't play that GUM mode and you can't just leave the lobby if you're getting stream sniped. This just isn't helping your case. I mean, you're literally using the term farming lobbies. There's a lot of children and new players playing this game obviously, so what are they going to think when they are, as you blatantly put it, getting farmed? How is that fun for anyone in that lobby? They basically don't get to play the game and they're probably going to start having a negative perception of the game. This isn't even about high-scale players exclusively, because people like T-Pig and Zbini Non actively encourage people to act like Garden Warfare 2 is a game that you need to get quote-unquote better at. This is probably the most casual shooter game you can play, especially when it's basically the only one targeted towards 10-year-olds. This is the only shooter game that I and many others enjoy where you don't have to sweat your balls off just to break even, and have an ounce of fun. So many games nowadays try so hard to be serious and competitive, and it's so tiring. I love the gunplay of X Defiant, but I stopped playing, and haven't played it after a few days because absolutely every match was a sweat fest. Everyone was trying so hard for no reason. I might as well have not even been playing. People's need to be good at every game is killing shooter games. All you get out of it is some ego-boosting dopamine, not the type of dopamine you get for just having fun playing the game. And the thing is, X Defiant was designed to be competitive. Garden Warfare 2 isn't. People don't have thousands and thousands of hours on Garden Warfare 2 because they wanted to get better, it's because it's one of the best games of all time. I know it might be goofy to say, but it's just a really good game, and I would consider it my favorite game I've played, and that's competing with the 2,000 hours I have on Minecraft and games like Hollow Knight, The Binding of Isaac, and all of the other PvZ games. I've sometimes just didn't want to play Garden Warfare 2 because there's people who sit there on Hot Rod and EP and Toxic Brains and all of the cheap top tier characters and try so hard just so they can have an ego boost or something. I've seen so many times where someone who's rank 500, 200, even 100, play as Mastered Agent, PN or Super Commando because they just have a desire to play the game as efficiently as possible. This is fun for no one. For the people who limit themselves so they can get kills and get better, for the people just trying to have fun on a chill game, for the 8-year-olds I sometimes see on this game and the new players. This isn't what the overwhelming majority of players want for the game. Competitive Garden Warfare 2 is stupid. There's a reason piig and his friends has, as they said, a bad reputation in the community. You can be good at Garden Warfare 2. I'm not trying to say you can't try at all, but it's very obvious when someone's being a try-hard. I have played PvZ shooter games very consistently since 2015. I got Garden Warfare 2 in 2017 and BFN on day 1. I have 500 hours on both Garden Warfare 1 and BFN, and 2,000 on Garden Warfare 2. I have never gotten above 75 kills in a game ever, and I've only started getting above 50 or so in the past few years. Meanwhile, piig has been playing since 2021 because his friends told him about the game, and he sits here and drops 100 kills casually. This isn't even the best player either. I'm decently sure the kill record for EP is at 400. You don't need to play as the top tier characters. I play as a lot of characters many people call bad because I think it's more fair for the enemy team, and because I think it's the best way to play the game as a max rank for others and your own enjoyment. So all in all, I think the claims piig made in his video are baseless and mostly him dodging or just being clueless of the problems people have with the Wolfie video. He lies, is hypocritical, and overall just seems dismissive of any real criticism. I, and many other people, think that the competitive scene for Garden Warfare 2 is completely unnecessary and is causing the game to morph into a sweaty mess that it was never supposed to or should be. This is propelled by YouTubers and their actions, such as piig's debacle I've talked about in this video. Even if you don't agree with what I've said about competitive Garden Warfare 2, it should be pretty obvious that piig's videos are just stupid. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.